prepper gurus are lying to you. Well, sort of. We're going to get into that here in a minute. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? How y'all doing? Hope y'all are doing awesome. Welcome back to the channel, or to the channel, whichever. If you're new, welcome. If not, welcome back. So, anyway, the prepper gurus are lying to you. Well, sort of. And that's what we're going to talk about. And I'm not trying to, throw any of these YouTubers, these YouTube prepper gurus, I'm not trying to throw any of them under the bus at all, by any means. I've only been, heavy into the prepping since COVID. That's what really got me into the prepping thing. And it's been a lot of YouTubing and a lot of learning from these YouTubers, and they've helped me out a ton. So don't get me wrong, I'm not throwing any of them under the bus. There's just certain things that I've learned along the way that they don't exactly tell you. And some of them might, but they don't really tell you a whole lot about it. But what they do tell you, and like I said, I'm not throwing them under the bus. Some of them have some very, very, very valuable information that, like I said, I've learned a ton from along my journey. I mean, they tell you that, they tell you what to prep. They tell you, prep, your food, your water, your medical supplies, and your guns and your ammo. And, they tell you everything that you need to prep, that you need to have on hand for these kind of situations. And it's like I said, it's very valuable stuff. They tell you that, and they tell you, how much, they tell you how much to prep. They tell you that, you need, 3,200 calories a day in food, which is, yada, 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 how many pounds of buckets or whatever that you need to store. And they, store it to the rafters, store food, get it, don't quit. Have you, start with 3 months, start with a couple of weeks, start with what you can, and go work. It's very valuable. And they show you how to store your ammo. They show you put it in ammo cans and store it this way and store it that way. And, they show you how to, fill your buckets with food. And they show you all this, and it's all, like I said, it's all very, very valuable information. They tell you how to, like I said, they tell you how to store it. They tell you, food goes in buckets. You get a 5-gallon bucket, you put your Mylar bag, fill it with rice, you seal it up, you store it, all this stuff. They tell you about the water, how much water to store you need. The water's kind of confusing on some of them. Some of them say you need a gallon of water a day. Well, that's to drink. You need a gallon of water a day to drink. But you need to plan for more than 1 gallon of water per person per day. You need to plan for 3, because you've got to cook, you've got to clean, and you've got to drink. And they're starting to come around on that one. Some of them, are getting called out on that. And some of them are starting to come around, but just some of what I've learned along the way, it's not prepping is not an exact science. There's certain different things, and it's kind of on your level. And they're some of them, they talk more of a general, this is what you need, which is a good starting point, general. This is how they do it. So they think that that's how we should do it. And it kind of leads some other preppers kind of down a little bit of a wrong path. I mean, they're on a good start, and they're in a good place by doing what these guys are saying, because they're like I said, they're not wrong. They're not lying to you. They're just, you need to look at your own context and your own, basically what your needs and your situation. They do a lot of gear reviews. They tell you that they review this knife, or they review this gun, and they but again, it's a lot of these are sponsored by these guys, and they're telling them what they're told to tell about this gear. And gear is gear, which is another thing that you can get good budget gear. You don't have to go out and buy the most expensive stuff to, you could buy 2 of, I don't think I have one on hand, but you could buy a couple good solid fixed blade knives, use one, test it out, keep one in your bag, test it out, see how it works, and then you've got a brand spanking new one in your bag. I do that with a couple knives. I've got a few Gerber strong arms. That's my particular fixed blade of choice. It's fairly cheap. It's not super cheap, but it's fairly inexpensive. And I've got one in my rucksack or bug out bag, if you will, which is another thing they're kind of leading you astray on, but I can get into that in a little bit later in the same video. But I've got one in my bug out bag. I've got one on my chest rig. I've got one, and I use one all the time. So it's like I know it's a good solid knife, and if slash when that time comes to bug out, I've got a brand spanking new one ready to go. So it's not like I know the knife is good. I know it's going to last forever, and I know it's going to be, very quality knife. But it's when that time happens to come along, I've got a brand spanking new one waiting for me in the bag. So, and they tell you like all the tips and tricks, the how to make fires, the how to set up your tents, and how to set up your tarps, and how to set this up, and how to use the certain stuff, and all, like I said, all of it's very, very valuable information. But again, it's not kind of on your level and your context and your area of operation and your neighborhood and your, because one thing they don't really talk about that I've heard is, they tell you all this stuff, stack your food to the rafters, stack your ammo. You see these YouTubers that, they'll show you their ammo stockpiles, or they'll show you their stockpiles of food or whatever, but it's like, where are you storing this at? Because for two reasons, maybe more than two reasons, but for two reasons, where are you putting this all? Because for one, since I've started prepping really heavy, I've moved like 3 times, which is not cool. That's my context. I don't recommend moving all the time, but because of my situation, my work situation, my life situations I've had since COVID, which has only been, 5 years, 4 or 5 years, I've moved 3 times. It's hard to move it. It's hard to take it all with you. It takes up space in your U-Haul. It's hard. We had to dump most of my water just because we can't haul it with, and I had to start all over at my new place. So it's like, for one, where are you storing this at? And for two, where are you storing this at? Because, and this is probably the most important one, is where you're storing it at, because if slash when the balloon goes up and you're forced to bug out for whatever reason, you can't take it all with you. It's there. It's staying there. If you have to bug out, you can take a little bit of it with you, but you're not taking it all. You've got to take into consideration the fact that you might have to bug out. If you're living out in the rural area where you don't have a neighbor for a mile, or whatever, you don't have any neighbors for a long, then you should be okay to keep it at your house. It's going to take SHTF, that type of SHTF, to where you're forced to leave by a person or a group of people. It's going to take a little longer, so you can store it at your house. But if you're like living in an apartment building, or if you're living downtown, or even in some of these suburb areas where you're kind of worried about having to bug out, you might want to consider storing that stuff somewhere else instead of at your house. Get a storage unit, store it along your way to your bug out location. Because if you're in a tough area where you're worried, where you're thinking that bugging out could be a legit thing, I hope you have a bug out location somewhere. Where are you going? You got to have that. That's the first thing you need to plan. You don't need to plan your bug out bag. What are you taking? Doesn't matter what you're taking if you don't know where you're going, which is another thing that people don't, which is another reason, pardon my words, it's kind of early, but another reason why they're lying to you about the bug out bags. They're telling you on these bug out bags, they're telling you all this gear to put in it, put this in it, put that in it, put that, have this, have that, have all your C's of survival, have your bug out bag is basically to get you from here to there, and that's it. It's not there you're not living on your bug out bag. You're not going off to the woods camping out of this bag. You're getting from here to there as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So what I recommend, what I've noticed in my experience, is most of that bag, most of it needs to be food, water, mostly water, because water's the hardest. You only go 3 days without water until you die, not till you need a drink, till you die. 3 days. If you're on a 5-day journey, that's a lot of water. If your bug out location is a 5-day walk, your water situation better be good, because you don't need all this gear. You don't need all of this. This tool can do 50 different things. It has 50. You don't need that. Keep that in the trash can, or leave it at home, or leave it in your camping gear. It might be a cool camping tool. Might be a cool tool just to play around and show off, but in your bug out bag, it don't need to be there. Okay, food, water, food. Those are number 2, number 1 and number 2. Medical, protection. And then you need, a sleep kit and a fire kit. And really that's about all you need. That's about everything that should be in that bug out bag. A sleep kit, a fire kit, some food, some water, and a medical kit. Anything else is just want to haves, not need to haves. And then all that's doing is adding more weight. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have maybe like a compass and some maps just to, in case you get disorientated and need to find your way back on track to where you need to be. But it's just a matter of, put in there only the bare necessities. This isn't an inch bag. This isn't I'm going out into the woods and hunting, scavenging, foraging. This isn't something like that bag. It's a bug out bag. It's a get from here to there bag. That's all it is. Have your stuff there. Have some stuff along the way. That's what you need. You don't need to have it all at your house. And that's what they're not telling you is where to store it at. I did see one that said, hey, me and some of my prepper pals or whatever, they've got a storage unit, together that they kind of, split the bill and that's a good idea. That was, and that's kind of where I heard it. And I was like, nobody else really says that. They just said, store it to the rafters, store your food, have it all, have all the ammo. And they show you these videos where they have their whole floor is full of ammo cans and full of ammo. And they've got I've got probably 50,000 rounds right here. It's like, okay, 50,000 rounds. What are you going to do if you have to move? Or what are you going to do with that if you have to leave? If you're forced to bug out by a people force and they come in and they overtake your place, if they just start it on fire like they do, they just light it on, then what? Then it's gone anyway. But if they force you out and come in and overtake your location, they've got all this food, they've got all these guns, they've got all this ammo, they've got it all right there, and it's all just, and you're just there bugging out on your bare necessities with nothing along the way, nothing at a bug out location, not even a bug out location to go to. See, a lot of them don't tell you that either. Like they're all focused on the things, not the whys or the wheres. They're focused on the bug out bag. Fill your bug out bag. Get your bug out bag ready. Get it, have it ready to go. This is what goes in your bug out bag. But they don't tell you that you need to have a place to go before you worry about that. And you need to have that place stocked up. You need to put your stuff there, not at your house, not in your basement or in your garage, or have some of it there because you might be able to stay there for a while. But that's upon you. If you're living in downtown blue country, your bug out might be a little quicker than some of the others. I don't live in a great place, but the new town I live in, it's a smaller city. It's a little outside of the big city. It's probably a half hour, 45-minute drive to the nearest big city, the nearest major city. So I'm out a little ways, but we're very gun friendly, and we're very, a lot of them are like-minded. You see a lot of Trump flags, you see a lot of the same kind. They're not all, there are some that aren't, but a lot of them are like-minded, and that doesn't necessarily mean I trust everybody here, but I feel a little bit more like if something were to seriously come down, I think we would all kind of be on the same page and on the same team-ish to some degree. I mean, just random people, do random dumb stuff, but when it comes down to it, to where it's go time, I think I could have a lot more friends than foes around here if I had to. And that's the thing. The preppers, they always say it depends, and it does. They're starting to get to where, well, it depends on your thing, because they've probably been called out on some things. And I'm not calling any of them out. I love every single one of you. I've learned a ton from all of you. So if any of you prepper gurus are watching this, I've learned a ton from you. So don't get me wrong. I've been prepping for a few years now, not near as long as most of you. You're all well more versed in this than I am. But I'm learning as I go, and there's certain things that I'm learning for myself that y'all aren't really telling me, and I'm kind of figuring it out on my own. And that's what a lot of it is. It's figuring out on your own context, the best words, your own capabilities, because if you throw all this gear that they're telling you to throw in a bug out bag, you've got a 100-pound bag. Can you carry a 100-pound bag for a day, a full day, 3 days, 5 days, however long can you do it? And how far you're going, and are you going to be bugging out soon? Anyway, like I said, I'm not trying to call anybody out. Y'all are awesome. I'm just telling you a little bit that I've learned along the way that maybe you're not, maybe these YouTube prepper gurus aren't mentioning, and it's something that I think that it really hits me pretty hard because I've just been stacking it here. I mean, I'm not like well stacked. I've got a good supply, but then I was like, well, if I have to, this sucks carrying it. This sucks moving it. This is hard. This is, I've moved 3 times, and it's like I gotta load it all up, all that, all my food supply, all my ammo. My ammo cans aren't light. You get even a 50 cal ammo can full of 9 mil, and it weighs a lot. I mean, and you're talking one of those. You carry that. It's a lot of weight to carry, and it's hard. You're gonna hate it if you have to move a lot, and if you have to bug out. Basically, I call it you're arming the enemy. If you're getting ran out of your house by a people force, wars at your doorstep, rioters are coming in or whatever, you just armed them. They're gonna walk into wherever you keep it, and they're gonna like, Christmas. Yeah, look at this. We got all this stuff now. But anyway, that's the video for today. I appreciate all of you. Do the YouTube stuff if you feel like it. There'll be links below for whatever if you want to donate. At the time of this recording, the channel's still demonetized, so if you do feel like donating a little bit, there will be a link to PayPal down below if you feel like it. I'm not pressuring you to do that. That's just, it'll be there if you want. Subscribe, do the YouTube stuff at least if you wouldn't mind. That would sure help me out a ton while I'm demonetized. That way when I get remonetized, we can be off to a good start when the time comes again. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you. Couldn't do it without you. And all you YouTube prepper gurus, I love you guys. I'm not calling you out. I'm not dissing you. I'm just saying it like I see it. Like I've learned along the way that maybe needs to be kind of put out there. And if I'm wrong, call me an idiot. I don't care. That's just the way I see it and the way I'm doing it. So, but anyway, again, appreciate y'all. Love you. Couldn't do it without you. Wouldn't do it without you. We'll see you in the next one.